Oh my gosh, where is Don Lemon? Where is he this morning? Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Hot Topic show at 10:15. Sorry, I'm late. Had to do some stuff. I have a sick doggy. I have a doggy that has to go to the vet again today because, oh, look, and then I have my Tamron Hall mug. There it is. So I've been dealing with, it's my senior dog, Gus, is having a little bit of an issue. So that's why I'm a little bit late. I was on the phone with the vet, and that's what we're doing. So anyways, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope that you had a good evening. I hope that you're having a good morning. If you're having some coffee or whatever it is that you're doing. Anyways, wish Gus good health. He's having a cough, which is weird, and we've been giving him medicine. So maybe it's an older dog. He's a senior dog, so maybe it's like a trachea thing. Let me know if you guys know what I'm talking about. That constant like little cough, like all night for the last couple of nights. He's coughing. We thought it was like maybe a cold or something like that. So anyways, that's what's going on. Where are you guys this morning? Let me get some energy. Good morning, everybody from New York. Good morning, everybody from New York. I hope that you're doing okay. Good morning from Motown. Wow. Motown, the Motor City. Says Randy. Good morning from Selma, North Kakalaki. Good morning from Oklahoma. I'm sure my friend Tracy, who just texted me asking me where I am, from the beautiful Beverly Hills, California. Good morning. Oh, from California down, says AJ Williams. So good morning, everyone from Mexico. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys about something, and you may not like what I have to say. Hi, everybody. Hi, Friday. Happy Friday, Dawn. Getting ready for work and tuning in Oakland. May Money's always there. So last night, oh, shoots, I forgot the pictures. Last night, I went to the Route 100 party here at the Apollo last night because I don't know if you know about the Root.com, but the Root.com is it is a website for influential African Americans, and I got to hang out with some people. I got an award for being one of the most influential journalists, Black journalists, over for the past year here in the United States and the world. Some recognition from the stuff that we did around the country. That's what really got people's attention. All the things that we did going across the country. Let's see. Let me tell you about it before we can get these pictures up. I know it's probably going to take you guys a long time, but I have it. So once you get them up, let me know. But anyways, thank you to the Root for being, and thank you for making me part of the Root 100 most influential African Americans in the country for 2024, 2023, 2024. And I love the Root, right? And so the photographs are up there. I got Jasmine Crockett was there. She received an award. Wendell Pierce received an award last night. Lettucey performed. Roy Wood Jr. was our host. The comedian Roy Wood Jr. was our host last night. Let's see who else was there. Tamron Hall received an award. Bakari Sellers, who I was supposed to appear with there last night, but Bakari they were having wind problems, and so his plane would not make it in on time. So when I received my award, I FaceTimed Bakari Sellers. I made them bring the house lights up, and I acknowledged everybody in the room and told them congratulations and so on and so forth. And then I made them bring up the thing, and then I FaceTimed Bakari Sellers, and we got to have our moment there on stage last night together, just via FaceTime. So it's technology. Also, Andra Day performed and also received an award for her role in her movie roles and for singing. So anyways, I put the pictures, I sent it to the producers. I should have sent it earlier. They will get it up and what have you. Hey, will it take long to get up? Should I move on and we do it at the end of the show? Would you guys prefer that? Nikki?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, yeah, since you're not rushed, since you won't be rushing, we'll get some serious stuff. So anyway, it's just a couple of pictures and I'll show you. There's an actor there. I forget his name. Don't get me wrong. I think you guys will see him. Very handsome gentleman. And he is in this new streaming thing that everybody is Alex something. I don't know. Anyways, but everybody's obsessed with. And his sister-in-law was there. Is like, look, I'm a real actress. We were joking. His brother's an actor, and he's on CBS drama. and his brother's wife is on a Fox drama, The New Matlock, and she said, "I'm a real actress. They just take their shirts off on screen." And so it was really funny. But anyway, so I'm going to talk to you guys about something. I don't think that you're going to be happy with it, but number one, excuse me, they still haven't found this guy who shot and unalived the healthcare insurance, United Health Insurance executive. And there's a couple issues with that. One, they haven't found him, which is a little bit frightening considering that we live in a city that has so many cameras and surveillance things and technology. That's a little bit concerning. And then the other thing is that how people are reacting to it, almost celebratory, which is a problem for me. It may not be a problem for you, but it is a problem for me. I do not think that we should be doing that. So I'm sort of giving away what I'm going to say, even though you have problems with the healthcare system. So just to catch you up, I want to catch you up on what is happening with this shooter, this update, and here's the report. And we'll run part of it. Here it is.
As this manhunt now enters a third day, police have the clearest image yet of the suspect. And the reason they have it is because he was flirting with a girl.
This morning, police are confident someone will recognize this suspected killer, seen smiling in images released by the NYPD after the assassination-style murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
The images come from a hostel on Manhattan's Upper West Side, where police sources tell ABC News the suspect checked in November 30th using a fake name in a New Jersey ID.
And sources say the woman at the check-in desk asked to see his smile, so the shooter obliged, allowing a surveillance camera to capture his face without a mask.
The sources say he arrived in New York November 24th on a bus that originated in Atlanta. Greyhound saying in a statement, "We are fully cooperating with authorities on this active investigation." Police are investigating whether the shooter left the city on a bus after the killing.
Early Wednesday morning, the suspect was seen with a backpack exiting the subway near the Hilton Hotel. He stopped at a Starbucks to buy water and a snack, and eventually police say he waited for Thompson, approached him from behind, and fired several shots, striking his target in the back and leg. He fled on a bicycle, seen in this video about 15 minutes after the shooting, 30 blocks north, without that backpack. Police sources say shell casings found at the scene had the words "deny, defend, and depose," echoing a 2010 book, Delay, Deny, Defend, Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. Earlier this year, activists protested UnitedHealthcare in Minnesota, accusing the company of greed and pointing out Thompson's $10 million compensation.
Today, value-based care is the centerpiece of our growth strategy.
Thompson, seen here at a 2023 United Health Investor Conference, had been living separately from his wife for years and recently divorced. He was the father of 2 teen boys. His former hometown teacher remembering Thompson for his work ethic.
If he was going to be in band, he was going to be an all-state band player. If he was going to be a golfer, he was going to be one of the better golfers. So I just think that work ethic and that drive probably set a good example for a lot of kids.
With the clear image of the shooter's face now and the forensic evidence detectives have gathered, police say it's just a matter of time before he's identified and caught, even, George, if he's no longer in the city.
And so far, that's the only image we have of his face.
It is the only image, and they are looking for every scrap of video. They have a lot. They have him all over the city, focused on this 10-day period from when he arrived November 24th to the day of the shooting, December 4th. He was in a taxi. He went to a McDonald's. He went to the Starbucks, and he paid cash, and he made sure to keep his mask on, leading police to believe he knew he was coming to the city to commit this murder.
Boy, meticulously planned.
Sure seems like it.
Okay, so meticulously planned, but then he made some mistakes, which will probably help police get him. Okay, so here's what I have to say about that. I know that people have problems with the healthcare system, and especially the health insurance system. Okay, but there are people who are writing articles. There are folks who are, who are online. And it is disturbing to me the way that they are responding. Deborah, thank you, Deborah Garacani. Too many people are happy about his death. I worked 10 years for BX. Nothing like that there. Okay, so here's the thing. We do have problems with the healthcare system. But why are we taking glee in someone's demise? And when we don't even know, you don't know for sure. Let me just say, when you look at the deny, defend, depose, or whatever, Okay, I get it. That's what it looks like, and usually it is the most obvious thing, but you don't know for sure. You don't know for sure. And any responsible journalist should not be out here just taking for granted that it was because someone in his family was denied insurance, or perhaps he was denied insurance, or he was upset by it. We don't know if that's the case. Chances are, if you're looking for the most obvious thing, then that is the most obvious thing. But you don't know. Insurance companies are a scam of greediness. That's a whole nother issue. That perhaps from this person's death, that it'll bring an awareness of the issues that are happening with insurance companies, because you can see from the public sentiment that people have issues. Obviously, we know that, but it's bringing that to fore, but we don't know. Tragic what happened. Crazy how people are responding, but hopefully this will be a wake-up call for insurance companies. Yes, hopefully it will be a wake-up call for insurance companies. Let's see. I'm going to look. This is a CBS report on the health care industry. It's a long thing, but I'm just going to play part of it because it's going to set up what I want to talk about, the issues that we're having, and why it concerns me the way people are reacting to this. Here it is.
Do not know why the CEO of UnitedHealthcare was murdered on Wednesday here on the streets of New York, but some of us have been really surprised by the reaction online. Many have shared their very deep frustration with the health insurance industry.
All right, Gail.
I have never seen Americans so united on something as I have over the last 24 hours in the comment sections on these news articles about the UnitedHealthcare CEO.
If you think that I didn't need anesthesia to have surgery, you're insane.
I'm having a hard time being empathetic to the situation whatsoever, because this is a billion-dollar company, okay, that denies access to people every single day.
And we're fighting with the insurance company over her dialysis to keep her alive.
Having said that, I think that there is something really instructive in seeing how almost gleeful people are about this horrible event. And the truth of the matter is what it tells me is something that we all already know, that Americans have just had it. We have had it.
She speaks for a lot of people there, but this really isn't about this tragedy. The videos of the doctors talking about their frustrations with insurers are from before the shooting.
I had billed $12 and change for a patient's allergy injection, and they had done an audit and said that they weren't going to cover that bill of $12 and change. I am a doctor, and I have no idea why they're able to deny this.
Does anyone else feel like they're having everything denied and need to appeal lately? I mean, I'm talking about joint replacements for a patient with bone-on-bone arthritis needing to get appealed for no reason. Like, what do we do? How can we make this end? I just feel like I'm in this cycle, spending more time dealing with insurance companies than with patients.
Insurance is the largest roadblock to just attaining proper treatment, access to healthcare. And it's just like we're just bleeding money left and right in this healthcare industry. And who is it benefiting? Not benefiting me as a doctor. It's not benefiting the patient. Who is it actually benefiting?
Look, okay, look, this says a lot, I believe. Thank you, Gail. By the way, I like Gail's hair. Okay. Overall, when people look, his compensation was $10 million, and I'm sure there was probably more in stock and all that stuff, whatever. That's a corporation. I keep telling you guys about corporations. This speaks a lot to corporate America, capitalism, greed, etc. Right? Think about what happens with corporate media. While you guys are upset, while you're tuning out corporate media, you want independent media. So you're here watching me today because you like independent media. You like people who have something to say and can say it and is not restricted. You don't like the BS. Okay, having said that, those doctors, as I said, that was before. Somebody's dead, and are we condoning death now? Regardless of if you get mad at someone, if you feel like you have been wrong, do you just go out and unalive them? You guys know who Taylor Lawrence is, right? Taylor Lawrence has a controversial piece that she has been writing, that she's written about. She said, and I want to see as many comments as possible up on the screen, whether you agree with me or disagree with me or whatever. And people are concerned about it. It says, "Why We Want Insurance Executives Dead" by Taylor Lawrence. It's a controversial piece. She says, no, that does not mean people should murder them, unalive them. But if you watch a loved one suffer and die from insurance denial, it is normal to wish the people responsible would suffer the same fate. Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, was fatally shot Wednesday outside New York Hilton, Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan. We know all of that. Okay. Within seconds of the news breaking, people online began celebrating. A Facebook post by UnitedHealthcare about the CEO's passing was met with about 23,000 laughing emojis before it was taken down. Health insurance companies are parasites, siphoning blood money from the sick, dying and injured. One user posted, "I'm only surprised it hasn't happened sooner." Naturally, the mainstream media began pearl clutching in outrage after I posted a quote tweet about insurance companies no longer paying for certain anesthesia with the phrase, "And people wonder why we want these executives." DEAD. Legacy media outlets, including Fox News, pounced and wrote a slew of articles about my calls for violence. Let me be super clear. My post uses a collective, we, and is explaining the public sentiment. It is not me personally saying I want these executives, DEAD, and some would say to unalive them. I'm explaining with thousands of, okay, she goes on, whatever. And then she says, Ken Klippenstein posted, "No shit. Murder is bad." The commentary and jokes about the United CEO aren't really about him. They're about the rapacious healthcare system he personified and which Americans feel deep pain and humiliation about. We don't know that. We don't know that. It's awful. Even if that is the reason, I'm sorry, Taylor Lawrence and Ken Klippenstein or whatever, I kind of understand what you're saying. Even if that is the case, no one should be taking glee in anyone's downfall. No one. I have been treated poorly by people over the years, and I've never taken glee in their downfall. That is the worst thing that you can do. It's Stacy says, it's Stacy, thank you. We know you work there. Stacy says, "I work at UnitedHealthcare. The issue needs to be addressed, but Brian is gone and the issues are still here. So it needs to be addressed, but we don't need to be taking glee in somebody's downfall." It should not be. Someone on TikTok just said an eye for an eye. It's not an eye for an eye, people. That's wrong. Talk about the issues. It's awful that this happened to this man, but there are some issues. And the person who did this is having some problems. Nita says, "I work at a major health insurance company, and we got an email yesterday about increased security because of the CEO's murder." Okay, I'm going to talk about that. Thank you, Nita. That's where I'm going. So people are mad at journalists. I hope I would. And when people were mad, I got threats when I was covering Trump and I worked at CNN. I got threats. I had to go and do victim impact reports from people who threatened me to unalive me. And then they would get in court and they would pretend to be victims. They would say, they had been co-opted by Donald Trump, but somehow he had brainwashed them and somehow he had forced them to do that. No, you're an adult, you're grown, you're not a victim. And many times the people doing the sentencing, the judges in the courts, they will fall prey to this whole thing that these people are victims. And the reason I started going is because I noticed that these people were getting easy sentences and lighter sentences because their attorneys in court would say that they were victims. So I was like, you know what? They would ask me to do victim impact statements. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go now. I remember I went. And This was during COVID. And then I got COVID, came down with COVID for like going out in public or whatever. But I went, and this man and his attorneys were in court saying like he had been co-opted. And I stood up there and I said, you are not a victim. I have to have security. I have to walk around with my head on a swivel. I have to have police outside of my mother's house and my sister's homes, my mother and my sister's homes, my family members. I can't go out in public. I have to, and you guys know now that I've been doing this because I talk to you all the time. If I go into the studio, I take the city bike, like they thought that this guy was on the city bike, and I'm going to talk to you about the kid too that helped them with the data supposedly for the city bike. It turns out, guys, it's not. His information didn't help because they haven't found him. Reportedly, it did not help, and it is not. They don't believe that it was it was an e-bike, but not necessarily a city bike. We'll get into that. So what I'm saying is this person, I would assume, who unalived this executive is an adult. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what the frustration or the problem or the issue is. And if this person is having some major issues with health insurance for him or a family member or whatever, then I empathize with them because we've all been there. I've been there. I was just on the phone with, by the way, so hand to God, with the insurance company before Gus with the vet about a medication that they're like, oh, it's fallen out of coverage. And I'm like, why? It's been covered for 2 years now. I don't know. You got to call your insurance company. And so when I'm done with this, Gus goes to the vet, and then I call the insurance company. So I know a little bit about that. But when I went to the court for one of the last victim impact statements that I did, the attorneys called me and thanked me for coming in because they were so frustrated with the tactics that attorneys were using and that people who were committing or threatening to commit acts of violence, that they were getting these light sentences. And the judge in court said, and I could see the attorneys for the prosecution like applauding after I did my victim impact statement. I looked him dead in the face. Then I said, you are not a victim. I don't know what was going on in your life, what your frustration was. I have no idea. But you have no right to threaten to take my life, or you have no right to take anybody's life, regardless of the circumstances. And so whatever it is, you need to face the consequences for whatever it is. 10 minutes later, when he was having a sentencing, the judge said to the man, no, you are not a victim. And I was like, thank you. And the attorneys were like, whatever. And so then so I felt good about that. I could help that because people need to suffer the consequences. This gentleman, I'm sorry if he was having issues. Okay, but you still cannot do that, people, and you don't know. And it would be irresponsible for any journalist to say that they know for sure, and then you go down this rabbit hole. Let's say, okay, I'm just throwing it out there, okay, because you've seen that. What if this guy, I don't know, God forbid, probably not because he had tons of money. What if he had a gambling issue? Or he had a beef with someone, and someone said he's an insurance executive. We can throw them off the trail by saying that this is that, by doing this. And then people are out here positing, saying, oh, well, it was definitely because you don't know that until the investigation turns that up. You can't. Now, you can talk about the problems with the health industry, but you should not be taking glee and smiling and laughing and saying, oh, I have a little sympathy for him, because you don't know. I have sympathy for him and his family. Perhaps he could have done a better job as a CEO, because perhaps he could have had more of an impact of helping people. Perhaps. Again, we don't know. But you know what? I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for his wife. I feel bad for his kids. I don't think that anyone had the right to do that to him. I'm sorry. That's just who I am. And I think it's awful when I see people doing this stuff, when I see people online. This is the kid. You guys saw the kid who supposedly helped with the bike thing. Can we put up? This is a full screen. This is some of his tweets. God, what is the kid's name? I had it in my phone or whatever. Anyways, so this is a San Francisco college kid. If you guys can put, well, he's 22, I think. Do we have that, Andy?
I have the tweet of the threat.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah.
That's the kid. So this is the kid who, according to NBC News, that this kid is told that Lyft, which operates a city bike, and their bikes were not used in the shooting. But this kid, apparently from San Francisco, was helping the NYPD with city bike information. He's like this information whiz kid, right? And he found this thing where he could track online city bikes and where people got them from and whatever. But as it turns out, it was not a city bike, but he was helping police. And in his social media says, "I am fairly confident that snitches get stitches." And on and on and on. People were threatening him, saying that they were going to harm this kid because this kid was helping the NYPD with the data that he found online. And now this kid's his social media site is now closed to followers only because he's afraid for his life. And according to, I spoke to the kid. He said most of it, I spoke to the kid. Most of the threats are coming from the far left. You don't want to become what you fight against. Anytime we're getting to a point where you want to help someone out who unalives someone, you have a problem. You have a problem. Again, you may not, it's hard to find, maybe it's hard to find empathy. It's not hard for me to find empathy, I'm sorry. I would prefer to use this to bring light to the healthcare industry, and also I would prefer to do something to raise the level of consciousness in the country about bad behavior. There's so much bad behavior going on. People are normalizing so much stuff, and I'm going to get to that in a second about how all of a sudden are people normalizing Pete Hegseth? How all of a sudden are people normalizing most of the people who Donald Trump has nominated to be part of his cabinet? Just people with terrible histories who are not qualified. I'm going to get to that. But why are we normalizing hatred? Why are we normalizing someone being unalive? That's not, we don't go, don't go there. It is not an eye for an eye when it comes to that. This is from the New York Times. This is a tweet. This is from the New York Times. Corporate world is rattled, investing in security. The unaliving of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson has left the corporate world rattled. Threats towards CEOs have risen in the last 5 years. Median spending on executive security doubled. This week, security firms told me phones are ringing off the hook. That's why this bothers me, because it would not only happen for the healthcare system that if you're making this excuse, then it would happen anything. What if you work in a store and you're a clerk or you're a security person and you refuse to, I don't know, return? Like I went yesterday to return something. They said, "Hey, sorry, it's past 30 days. Our policy is that you can't exchange or return after 30 days. Now, what if I said, that is my money. It was like $200. This is my $200 and I want my $200 back. Boom, pew, pew. Are you going to say, "Oh, I understand because, hey, Don needed the $200 in stores with these policies is ridiculous. You should be able to." Back in the day, you could return things, didn't matter how long. Or what if you were in a store and you're security or a clerk and someone just walks out with merchandise or whatever, and you stop them or you say, hey, and then they say, oh, well, this person deserves to have it. Snitches get stitches. Whatever it is that you get, I can name whatever job that you do. I can give you a similar scenario where people can make an excuse about something that you are responsible for doing for your job, that they can say, no, the person deserves to be able to do this. Don't do that. Again, healthcare system is jacked up. Health insurance system jacked up in this country. And the weird thing is that people have been fighting and talking about it forever, that it is a problem. And some of the people who are making excuses for that, it's not just the far left, most of it, but it's also the right. They've been fighting against universal health care, fighting against Obamacare in this country, where you would not have to be so reliant on insurance companies. And now folks are going to have, is everybody going to have security? Is it going to become martial law, Wild Wild West? Stephen Bruno, thank you for your support of independent media. I just came from Union Station, DC, and saw what I assumed to be a CEO type get off of a Acela train, guarded by armed security, and walk to a black SUV. Never saw that before. F around, FAFO vibes. Sorry. Okay. Is that, you guys tell me in the comments, is that what it's going to take? Maybe that's what it's going to take for reform. Is that what you're telling me? Is that the way? Is that what you're telling me? I don't know. I don't know if that's too extreme for me. So anyway, that's the security part that you're seeing. Do we have a picture of the suspect? Can we put the picture of the suspect up so we can show people what he looked like? And that's who they're looking for. And there were people, someone sent me a thing yesterday on social media, and I was just shocked, saying, you knew he was going to be hot. I'm like, what? I don't know. What do you, let me go to the comments. I want to see what you guys are saying before I move on, because I want to talk about Pete Hegseth for a minute. I want to talk about that for a minute. How do you feel about the death about the United CEO unaliving? 48% of you say it makes me very sad. It makes me a little sad, says 24. It doesn't make me sad at all, says 28%. Wow. KC says, if we don't take matters into our own hands, then who will, Don? KC, are you suggesting that we go to wiping people out because of it? Robert Lewis says, can't happen to nicer people. They're just so kind and sweet and help people, and they're so generous with all their money that they give it all back. Oh my God. But Robert, do we know for sure that that's the motivation? As I said, probably, but we don't know. You're just assuming that. Winky Campbell says, I don't like it. M. Karina, 1979 says, people and children's death caused by denied claims. Okay, now let me just say this. Again, I said this probably, but you don't know for sure. You don't know. Remember when people were so sure about a lot of things that turned out not to be true, and remember news organizations got sued and lost because they were reporting things as if they were true, because they had come to a conclusion. Do you guys remember that? Remember those? Put the last comment back up, please, so that I can see the last comment. I want to read the last comment that was up. Maybe that was Karina. I'm not sure. Is that and why should I care about his death? Do you think he cares if I die due to not being able to afford insulin? Says Dr. Jan. Dr. Jan, If you can show me the evidence 100% sure that this is why it happened, then I would say, okay. And even if you can show me the evidence that it is, I would still say, yeah, you should care about someone's death. Am I wrong? Like, are you guys serious? If you make a mistake on your job and something happens, do you think someone should unalive you? Are you saying, I'm just saying. While murder is distasteful in this instance, it may end up saving many more lives if it causes CEOs to actually act, CEOs, excuse me. I thought you meant like co-payments, CEOs to actually act with some humanity rather than endless greed. I get it. Again, we don't know if that's it, but still. We could have had reform, 4 more years of MAGA. Yeah. So, look, I know that there needs to be reform. I just don't know. And for one CEO, that CEO is responsible for UnitedHealthcare insurance. Is he responsible for the entire healthcare insurance system? I know he is a symptom of it, obviously emblematic. Yeah. See, I'm sorry, GB, where you says, Don, please read the room. I'm reading the room. I don't agree with the room. I don't agree with the room. I agree that there are problems, but I don't agree in taking glee. That says something is off and something is wrong with you. Anytime, I don't care. You should not be taking glee in anybody's death or downfall or demise. You should not. It's awful. It's wrong. You're becoming what you fight against. You guys talk about how awful MAGA is. A lot of you in here, you talk about how awful the president-elect is and some of his behavior, and that it's the worst of human behavior. Then you're celebrating the worst of human behavior, especially if you're a Christian. You're not supposed to unalive people if you're a Christian. We're going to agree to disagree on that one. I think it's awful. I think it's awful if anyone is saying like, yeah, I'm glad he's gone. Is terrible. He should be. I'm not. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for anybody who's denied insurance. I feel bad. There are better ways to handle it, and there's better strategy. Big Papa, thank you for your support. All the news coverage over a rich CEO, white man, black folks have been getting unaligned for years under the hands of whites, and they get far less coverage. The nerve. Look, I understand what you're saying, but when we're talking about the insurance industry and something that is going to have repercussions, and I agree with you, there should be more coverage. Now, I like that that comment. I agree with you that happens all the time, and perhaps this will bring light to that. But yeah. No, you aren't wrong, says Beth Bear. No, but a lot of people do think I'm wrong. And we can agree to disagree. I don't think you think I'm wrong. I told you I'm always going to tell you the truth, and I'm always going to tell you how I feel. They will just replace him with someone who will do the same job, says Sean Russell. That may be true. And then, so Sean Russell, let me ask you, then do you believe that that person should face the same fate? I'm just saying, what if the folks, who are upset about the trans women in the Capitol bathroom yesterday, if they said they don't have the right to be in the bathroom with me, and I know that I'm right, so I'm going to off them. Did they have the right to do that because they feel that they are affected by it? Maybe I was raised differently. I don't agree with it, but I understand. I understand why people are upset. I'm just saying, I just don't agree with it, right? You remember when people said that? You remember? There were a lot. Let me tell you something. There were a lot of people who were mad at OJ. A lot of people who were mad at OJ, right? Especially back during the day. And I'm going back for when it happened. A lot of white people were mad about the OJ verdict. Mad. And do you remember when Chris Rock said, and it was a sentiment of a lot of black folks who said, I don't agree with it, but I understand. Now you tell me what you think about that and how you feel about today when you're however it is you feel about this. Let's move on to Pete Hegseth. I said what I said. I said what I said, and I'm not changing it. Thank you, Nene Leaks. Okay, Pete Hegseth, in a different sort of fight for his life, for his political or career life, Pete Hegseth says that he is staying in the fight. Here it is.
Hegseth, do you feel like you're making progress in these meetings?
Great meetings.
Yeah.
Appreciate the process. Senators give great advice, and this is how the process works. It's not going to be tried out here. It's going to be discussed inside the offices, how we rebuild our military, put the warfighters first. That's what President Trump has asked me to do, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Are there any circumstances where you would withdraw from this process?
I'm here with the support of President Donald Trump. As long as he supports me, which he told me this morning, I'll be here.
And it's come to our attention, you've been addressing these questions about alcohol use in these meetings. What are you telling senators about what you'd be like as Secretary of Defense on that issue?
That's why I'm telling senators and not you.
He's good with the media. I will give him that. Very flippant. I don't know if that's going to help him. That will probably help him with the MAGA crowd. They'll probably help him with the bro crowd, the dude crowd. They want him. There's so much hypocrisy as it comes to this story. And he's meeting with people. The thing is that why is it okay for people to be unqualified for their positions? Why is it okay for these MAGA folks, quite frankly, these white folks to be unqualified for their positions or disqualified for their positions and not be considered DEI hires? I'm going to say it again. Why should they not be considered DEI hires when they are exceptionally, without question, unqualified? Just because you serve in the military does not make you qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. Just because you write or post articles, unqualified is an understatement, says Chris Winkler. Just because you post articles and you're right and you're an activist about the food industry or the whatever does not mean that you are qualified to be HHS Secretary. Doesn't mean that. Just because you are in the media and you're a former congressperson does not mean that you are qualified to lead national intelligence when you have no experience. Someone who is that said, I have 3 words, which is, who was that? Dr. Jan. Dr. Jan, thank you. I love that you're still participating, even though I may disagree with you a little bit. That's what we're supposed to disagree. And if we disagree, we're not supposed to unalive each other. And I don't think we should castigate each other. I have 3 words for you. White male privilege. Absolutely. Also white female privilege too, because some of them are not qualified. They don't understand that they aren't qualified because they are too dumb to understand competence, says History Onick. But they also don't understand unconscious bias, and they don't understand racism. They don't understand it. Because just think if all of these folks, let's just think if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Barack Obama had put forth these same sorts of people with a different color skin, what would happen? In order for Lloyd Austin to become the defense secretary, go look at his resume. Go look at his resume. And then go look at his resume and you tell me, Lloyd Austin, Pete Hegseth. No comparison. No scandals. Well, when he was the defense secretary, he didn't let okay, fine. He was already defense secretary. He already had qualified. He already had a resume behind him. He already had accomplishments. DJT wants yes-sayers, not qualified people, says Peter Cheyenne. Yeah, that's true. But even beyond that, not just what he wants, people are making excuses and saying that it's okay. He can want what he wants. But then the people who have to approve those people should be saying, no, they're not qualified. Next, no, they're not qualified. Next, no, they're not qualified. Next, what are they doing? They're becoming yes people, and they're agreeing with it. And some of them, I believe, they believe it because they are making excuses for it. And some of the people who have faced consequences for SA and domestic abuse in their family and violence and all of those things are now like, okay, maybe, I don't know. He says he's staying in the fight. I want to play. This is Senator Kramer, who is on Fox News, right? These are people making excuses. Wait, hold on. Okay, so that was Pete Hegseth saying he's still in the fight. Isn't there one? I want the other one because he's, let's go to Pete Hegseth. Let's stay with him and then I'll go to the other people. Pete Hegseth says he doesn't answer to the media at all. Here it is.
I don't answer to anyone in this group. None of you, not to that camera at all. I answer to President Trump, who received 76 million votes on behalf and a mandate for change. I answer to the 100 senators who are part of this process and those in the committee. And I answer to my Lord and Savior and my wife and my family. I'm proud to be here. And as long as...
Okay, back up and just pause it with him, please. Just give me a shot of him and his wife, because his wife is standing behind him smiling and whatever. So just play it again. All right. So there you go. So let me just say this. So that's a wife that he had an affair with and whatever, I think got pregnant, and it was Fox News, and then he had an affair on her. I think he's on his third wife or whatever. And so I'm not saying anything. He's admitted to all of that, right? And so this is the party of family values and, wow, all of these black men, are they just having babies out of wedlock, and they're having so many babies and whatever. How many babies mamas does he have? How many babies mamas does Donald Trump have? And look, it's the truth. Now, when he looks in that camera, he forgot he has to answer to the Constitution, says K Pepper L. What he is not understanding is that those cameras, that's the American people. Those cameras are showing the American people who he is. And that's how the American people are getting to see who he is, got to know who he is. So he's wrong. What he's saying is that he doesn't have to answer to the American people. He has to answer to Donald Trump. That's all he's saying. Did you hear what he said? He has to answer to Donald Trump. And look, his wife is smiling. Girl, stand by your man. Do you remember when, God, if you could find that soundbite of Hillary Clinton? Y'all don't remember, I'm too old. I'm not some little Tammy Wynette standing by my man. She got roasted for that. Roasted. But now it's okay. It's okay. Now it's okay. We also have, back in the day, I just want to show you this before I move on to, do I want to do that? Yeah. On Fox News, about him saying that he was using the bar to find his 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th wives. We don't have it?
I have it, just I wasn't ready for it. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we can move on. You want me to wait? You want to go to something else? I can. I have something else that I can
got
go.
it right here.
All right.
Here we go.
In America, bars are made for socializing. Take it from me, it's where I met my 4th, 5th, and 7th wives.
Humor. You guys know, anyone, the laws of comedy, the first law of comedy? Anyone? Anyway, isn't that their comedy show, that whatever that show that airs at 11? Gutworth or whatever, from that show. The first rule is that it has to be funny. Okay, so here is someone else that I have. Oh, so here's them, him. Do I want to go here yet? Because I'm going to go on for a little bit. Let's stick with, he's on the Hill. He's on the Hill. Let's stick with that. Okay, so this is my former colleague, Jake Tapper, talking about he's pressing Senator Schmidt on Hegseth. Here it is.
That's a reason why you would dismiss somebody from a very important role like this. And so,
well, I said the facts and the allegations, because the facts of the infidelities of how he has run his personal life are just facts, and frankly, as a married man and a father, absolutely disgraceful. But beyond that, there are these allegations. He paid hush money to his accuser in California. I've never paid hush money to anybody.
well, he settled a lawsuit that, again, the underlying charges were deemed by a prosecutor as baseless, and those are the facts. But again, I think this is again, people are entitled to ask these questions. He's entitled to give an answer, and he's answering those questions. And the Senate's going to come together and vote on his nomination to lead an agency that has failed another audit, that has recruitment problems because it's dividing the room by race with this divisive, discriminatory DEI agenda that they have. It's been politicized like every other agency under this Biden administration.
This man is so, I'm sorry, dumb. DEI would be him, Pete Hegseth. That would be DEI. DEI would be Matt Gaetz. That would be DEI. Unqualified people. And quite frankly, disqualified people. The prosecutor decided? I thought it was the cops decided that they wouldn't investigate it, and it was not adjudicated. So the woman filed a lawsuit and he paid her. And Jake said, I've never paid hush money. I haven't either. So what's up? I've been falsely accused by people and never paid. Nothing. Zero. Senator Scott. Let's play it.
These anonymous sources say these things without willing to go on your show or some show and have you ask them all the questions.
A point that you're making here, the woman who accuses Pete of raping her in 2017, although the police, so we should note, did not charge him with any crime. That woman, Pete Hegseth, paid her money and she signed a non-disclosure agreement, so she can't come on my show to talk about it. Do you think Pete should release her from the NDA so that I can ask her the questions that you want me to?
Absolutely not. There's so many. Think about it. Jake,
absolutely,
how many people,
not.
Wait, Jake. We know how many people sign non-disclosures just to eliminate something. Not that they ever did anything wrong, and he was never charged with anything.
Do you want me to ask her questions, or do you not want me to ask her questions? I'm confused.
So I'm not going to suggest that somebody, change a contract that they sign, but look, this is Trump's nominee. He won. A lot of people don't like the fact that he won. He won. We have to make a change as a Department of Defense. We have the risk of war. The world's on fire. We've got to change how our Department of Defense is run.
Yeah, no,
he's going to do it.
I hear you, but you started this interview and saying you don't like all these anonymous accusations, and I should be able to interview these people. I'm saying, okay, shouldn't Pete Hegseth release this woman from her non-disclosure agreement so that I can do what you suggested at the top of the interview you wanted me to do?
Absolutely not. I mean, so many of these things are done for a variety of reasons. But look,
well, how am I supposed to interview her and have her not be anonymous anymore if he won't release her from the non-disclosure agreement?
Well, first off, there was an investigation. He wasn't charged.
It's not an investigation.
Right? That's exactly what happened. The police did the investigation and he wasn't charged.
He did pay her money to be quiet, though.
So there was an investigation. He wasn't charged. So he's got, why don't people respect these people that defend our freedom? I don't know what you're talking about. Proud of my father. He fought in the Second World War. He did all the combat jobs. He put his life on the line. Pete put his life on the line. Respect him.
Well, I respect veterans and soldiers all the time, but that's not really the point. I mean, millions of Americans have served in the military. That doesn't mean that they should be in charge of the military.
Well, here's a guy that put his life on the line, all right? He's fought for veterans since he got out. He's got the right background. He knows the problem of wokeness. He's going to fix the problems of the military.
All right, Republican Senator Rick Scott, thanks so much.
Okay, do you guys, tell me if you remember this. Do you remember the guy when I was in front of the Capitol? I think, at the end there, Senator Scott, Rick Scott, sounded like the guy, and tell me if you remember this. When I asked him, I said, so you don't have an issue with the January 6th? Did you not see the video of the people? Do you guys remember that? When I did the interview, it was on social media, and he goes, they invited him in. They invited him into the Capitol. They ushered him in. He sounds exactly like that guy. It's the exact same sort of defensive posture and think like, what's wrong? It's all of these anonymous things. So, okay. Wow. Okay. Let's go to Fox Business News. Senator Kramer dismissing the allegations again on Fox Business News. Let's see what excuses they come up with. Here it is.
I've always loved the fact that as a face for peace through strength, Pete has a great one, because I always say that we talk a lot about deterrence. We talk a lot about nuclear deterrence, and we usually reference then some sort of a weapon system. But deterrence isn't just a weapon system; it's an attitude, it's a culture, it's a system that includes the leadership itself. Pete is all those things. Plus, he's a warrior's warrior. He's somebody that the rank and file military men and women can look to and go, finally, there's somebody at the helm that represents us, not just the guys with stars with stars on their shoulder, which I love them as well. Don't get me wrong. But Pete convinced me, and all of the accusations and allegations against him have convinced me that they're either not there or at least nobody's talking. And so I think we got to move on with this. Let's get Pete across the finish line.
Look, the far out liberals try to smear him. Okay, they're going to try to smear other cabinet nominees. There's no question about that. But they should.
Senator Blumenthal is saying, Shub Bentley 88 says, how do these hypocrites sleep at night? I don't know. I have no idea. I think they've the cognitive dissonance, and I think that they've just sold their souls and said, whatever it is, and they're just afraid of Donald Trump. They want to cozy up to power. Senator Blumenthal is saying what many people said during the 2016 election, the 2020 election, and the 2024 election, mostly during 2016 and 2020, but 2016 the most, where people would say, I can't stand this man. And then they get on television and they go, oh, I love him. He's great. This is the best thing since sliced bread, right? Can't stand the man. This is the best thing since sliced bread. So that man, Senator Kramer, is saying, that it is the far left who is smearing him. Listen to Senator Blumenthal, what he's saying about this.
I've talked to 5 to 10 Republicans who have said to me, they're just waiting for the right moment to say no to Pete Hegseth.
Your colleagues saying that to you privately is a much lower bar than being willing to vote against him publicly or even say publicly that they won't support him. Why do you think so few Republicans, none by my count, have been willing to come out and say they will definitively not support this nominee?
Nobody wants to defy Donald Trump.
That's it. No one wants to defy Donald Trump, and that's it. They know it's wrong. So you ask me how they sleep at night, they don't care. They don't care. It's about power. That's how they sleep at night. They know. They know it's wrong. And so so here's the thing. That when I was, when Democrats were like clutching their pearls, it's not the far left, it's his own Republicans. Republicans are cowards, says Cindy D. Yes. So when Democrats, and some of you were clutching your pearls, like, how could Joe Biden pardon his son? And what does it say? The moral stance of the Democrats. And oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. These guys are like, this is what Donald Trump wants. Now, I'm not saying it's right, but this is what they want. And so and you're clutching your pearls about someone who is pardoning his own child. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let me just say something. I rarely like to talk about this next person because I think they're a despicable human being. And it's just a terrible person, and is always talking about, like, I fight for women only when it is convenient when it's professionally convenient and expedient for her. And I won't say that. She has like such disdain for trans people, and I was like, and I will say it. When I saw, I was like, shit. I saw her from across the room not long ago, and I thought, I was like, wow. I thought it was a man in drag. I'm not saying that. I was just like, who is that drag queen over there? And then I said it to Tim, and Tim goes, no, I think that's Megyn Kelly. And I went, oh my God, it is unrecognizable. I thought it was honestly a man in drag. I really did. I thought it was a drag queen. So Megyn Kelly is always talking about, I hate to talk about it. I just don't. But she's always like talking about drag, calling, people misgendering people. Okay, fine, whatever you want to do. But then she's talking about, I stand up for women and I'm such a whatever for women. And then now she's trying to rehabilitate Pete Hegseth. So this is, I would say, I'm not going to run this clip, but I do because I think it speaks to both of these people. Okay. Megyn Kelly interviewing Pete Hegseth on some kernels of truth, what he says is a kernels of truth in this. Here it is.
Seeing right now with me is the art of the smear. It is the classic art of the smear. Take whatever tiny kernels of truth, and there are tiny, tiny ones in there, and blow them up into a masquerade of a narrative about somebody that I am definitely not. And what they never quote, and we'll get into this too, are the legions of people from who I served with in combat, multiple tours, from the multiple veterans organizations that I very proudly ran, and I really want to get into that, and my time at Fox News. They never asked the people closest to me.
No.
They never asked the people who were involved directly. And when they do, and I've got a list right here of people, and Will Cain and my hosts at Fox News have come out, all the folks on Fox Friends have all come out and said, this is not Pete. And we've worked with Pete for 10 years, every single morning, every single day. They never ask those people.
Yeah.
And that's what a smear looks like. It's a couple anonymous.
That can happen. That can happen. But when the when the evidence is there that how you met your wife at work, Megyn Kelly knows this man is a womanizer. She knows. She don't care. She does not care. She cares about what is professionally expedient for her. She doesn't care. That whole thing about she cares about women, it's all bullshit. Women. She cares about Megyn Kelly. That's what she cares about. This is Pete Hegseth and Megyn Kelly talking about his alcohol use. Now, by the way, he says he does not have a problem. I don't know for sure if he has a problem. The folks at his office said that he has a problem. I don't know. Again, these are anonymous sources. And so maybe there are some people who are out to get him. Maybe there are people there who don't like him. I don't know. Maybe there are people there who were jealous of him. But these are the reports that were coming from his coworkers. And remember, his own mother. Here's the thing. That's when I said, about whether it's a kernel of truth or whatever. His own mother said the same thing, and then in an email, and then took it back and said that she was sorry about it. But she said it and she admitted it about her own son. And for a mom to do that, I'm going to believe mom. I'm going to believe mom. So maybe Megan doesn't believe the mom. Maybe she thought the mom was lying. Maybe she just thought the mom wrote the letter and made up all that stuff that she said, that none of it was true. I don't know. Okay, so this is so apparently they said that he has an alcohol problem, right? That he would come to work. These are the reports, reportedly, that he would come to work. They'd have to throw him on the set. That he would be drinking. He would smell of alcohol the night before. He would brag to his colleagues and say he didn't get any sleep because he was out partying. On and on and on and on. Okay. But this is him talking about it because apparently he still drinks. At least if you listen to this, he does, which is legal. But here, just listen.
They're not upset about your drinking?
You know what? There's an interesting one there. First of all, I've never had a drinking problem. No one's ever approached me and said, "Oh, you should really look at getting help for a drink." Never. I've never sought counseling, never sought help. I respect and appreciate people who do. But what do guys do when they come back from war? Oftentimes, have some beers. How do you deal with the demons you see on the battlefield? Sometimes it's with a bottle. Unfortunately, tragically, for too many guys, it's with the bottle, and then it's depression, and even worse, suicide. I mean, we've got an epidemic of that in our country. Thank God, by the grace of God, I found my chapters of purpose that pulled me out of that.
Look, good luck to him. If you have an alcohol issue or whatever it is, he says he does not have an alcohol issue, and I understand that people come back and they do that. Do not use that. Do not exploit those people for your own career. Pete Hegseth. They have legitimate issues that they own up to. If you have an issue, you should own up to it, but don't exploit those people. The men and women in uniform. Be a patriot for them. So I tend to, I like patriots. I like real Republicans and real conservatives, as I like real Democrats and real liberals, not the far crazy MAGA right and not the far crazy liberal left. Someone who I like, who is a former Republican, but cannot deal with the whole Trump and the hypocrisy and everything that, all the hypocrisy and just looniness and in that interview, is Tara Setmeyer. I'm going to let my friend and former colleague Tara Setmeyer tell you what's up. Here she is.
To this country and to bring us to where we are, to the point where we are having a discussion about a guy who is a serial philanderer, who is has a drinking problem potentially, according to people around him, who is so rife with potential compromise and so compromised by our enemies because of all of these things, that we are having a serious conversation with senators in the United States Senate saying, like, let me think about whether he's qualified or not to lead the most important fighting force in the world. It's asinine, but that's what these people are doing. The fact that Pete Hegseth is even considered speaks volumes not only about Donald Trump's terrible judgment, but everybody around him, that they would be willing to compromise our national security, our standing in the world, the respect of our men and women who wear the uniform, that they would risk all of that to placate Donald freaking Trump, is a disgraceful message to send to not only our men and women.
Where was that energy during that interview of someone trying to rehabilitate someone? Where was that? Where was that? So anyways, yeah, I'm going to get out of here. So I got to take my dog to the vet just to be
I have your photos, Don.
Oh, you got the photos. Okay. So let's go to the photos just so you know. Let's put them up. There is last night. And that is Tasha Robertson, who's the editor-in-chief over at The Root. And there's Harriet Coles, who Harriet was a big-time person in media, is a big-time person in media. I was on Harriet Coles' podcast as well. So that's us at The Root last night before Tasha presented me with the award. And then this is me, and there she is, Jasmine Crockett, the Congresswoman, who also received an award last night for being influential Americans, Black Americans in this country. And so she looks fantastic. And guys, so these are the famous acting brothers who were there with us last night. receiving the award. And as I said, a lot of people got it, a number of people got awards last night, but I got to be a presenter. And so I just want to thank the Root 100 most influential African Americans of 2024. And so thank you very much for that honor. And it was not only an honor, it was a privilege to be there. And the thing that got us there was our very honest interviews with folks who are on the street from all different political backgrounds, just everybody, just talking to people on the street and out and about in America, whether they were Democrats or Republicans or whatever, and letting them speak. And they recognize that. And so, yeah, there you go. And that penetrated. So thank you all. I appreciate it. I will see you a little bit later on anyway. So prayers for Gus, okay? So thank you. I will see you guys soon. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And also, we'd love for you to become a subscriber. So hit that button too. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of content for